Here it is, the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday for most of you, right? We all rush out to shop at the stores. Oh, wait, all the stores are closed, huh? Well, I guess we'll all get our computers and do our shopping online, right? Today I want to talk to you about a little weasel, a little person who's come to the attention of Flat Earth lately. And this is uh, Kyle Adams. He calls himself Professor Kyle Adams, and he runs the Flat Earth Institute of Science. And I shouldn't say he's a little weasel, but uh, sometimes you just can't help it, I guess. Kyle Adams is a young married man with a couple of kids. He lives in Utah. Uh, he went to college at a university or college in Utah. He also, where he got a degree in fine arts. It is a Bachelor of Science degree, so he considers himself a scientist. Um, After he got his Bachelor of Science in fine art painting, he also got a degree in religion. Uh, and I guess that's where Flat Earth comes from, as it does for most. Uh, and I think lately he's been associated with Globebusters, and I guess they're teaching him the ropes of how to be a successful flat earther. He, of course, repeats a lot of the rhetoric that they teach or spout uh, under the guise of science. And I guess that's where he gets kind of under my skin, uh, trying to say that this is science, that he's Professor Kyle Adams, and that he knows what he's talking about. I talked to him a little bit on Twitter, and he's he's a very nice guy, very straightforward. Uh, he'll tell you whatever you ask him. Uh, he told me that he has a discussion group where you can go and discuss uh, things, and that's how he gets his ideas for his videos. Uh, and so he feels like they should be correct because they've gone through this vetting process of being on his discussion group. Um, he makes such videos as he has one on Australia. He made a video about Australia, and in that he said he talked to a girl that hiked across Australia, east to west and north to south, and she said definitely that Australia was about 4,000 miles east to west and about 2,000 miles north to south. I have to disagree with that. I just took like 2 minutes. I don't understand why these guys can't check some of their information. It just took me 2 minutes to check. I went to Google and checked, just tell me the size of Australia, 4,000 miles from east to west and about 4,000 miles north to south. It's the same, not half. I checked on the airline flights from Sydney to Perth and from Darwin, which is on the north coast, down to the south coast. And I still got 4,000 miles one way, 4,000 miles the second way. I checked driving distances. The driving distance from Sydney to Perth is about 4,000 miles. The driving distance from the north coast to the south coast is about 4,000 miles. So I have three different sources that say it's 4,000 miles across both directions. So he still has his video up. He still says Australia is twice as wide as it is tall. And he uses that to prove that the flat earth map is correct, not the globe. You know, I find that puzzling as a scientist, uh, why you wouldn't check your data, check your information. You know, every scientist that I've ever known, and there's been a bunch of them, every one of them check and recheck data before they publish it. And you cannot just think up something and post it and say that it's scientific proof. I'm sorry, that's just not the way it works. The last thing that just really got me is right now he's doing what he calls a series to completely destroy earth science. You know, I just have to say that's an entire field of science. People have been studying rocks and minerals and the earth, fossils and layers and what causes different things for centuries. So all in, you know, a couple of videos, he's going to completely demolish earth science uh, based on his Bachelor of Science degree in fine art. Uh, it just blows your mind, you know. And one of the things he did, and this is an example, you know, maybe it's a little too close to home, is why it made me so mad, is he he has this book. Let me tell you first of all, he has this book called Earth Science. Now, no one in college or past junior high calls it Earth Science. Uh, it's geology. If anyone's watching, the science of studying the Earth is geology, okay? Uh, and then, so this book is probably a book written for roughly middle school, junior high uh, intellects. So think about that also if you happen to see his video. Um, anyway, his first point in his video was, you know, he's flipping through and he looks at a photograph. The photograph happens to be of Guadalupe Peak in the Guadalupe Mountains in southern New Mexico, where I live. I grew up in southeastern New Mexico, and he looked at this photograph and read off the caption on the photo. So he's reading, you know, a little short caption to a photo, and then he says, so where's their scientific method? And, you know, why didn't they show some background of how they tested and got this information? honestly, Kyle, you just have to look at the source of your information and why it's the way it is. You can't expect that they would put an entire treatise on uh, why the uh, seashells are found at the top of Guadalupe Mountain, all in the caption of a photo. And let me tell you from experience, and this is because I have taken geology, I've been in geology, and especially the geology of New Mexico. Uh, those mountains are a coral reef that has been weathered by ocean. And yes, there are shells, uh, deep sea shells on the top of the Guadalupe Mountains. And there are, uh, you can see the rock layers and everything. Those rock layers support other geology in the area. We have the Permian Basin that was also underwater and is rich in oil and uh, potassium salts. Um, then around that you have, you know, the Rocky Mountains on one side and you have the Great Plains on the other side. All of that geology has to be considered together. You can't just look at one thing and say, oh, look how wrong this is. Uh, because just like any field of science, it builds on itself. It's like a puzzle. It builds together to create the understanding that we have today. So if you say gravity doesn't exist, well, that comes from, you know, 2,000 years of study about gravity, and there are other scientific principles, scientific discoveries that were made because of gravity. And then, you know, in addition to that, there's more. There are things everywhere that are tied into that. And it's the same thing with this earth science, geology, that these rock layers tie into other rock layers in other places. They're related to those. The shells are related to shells found in other locations, so they have an idea of the age. And all of this fits together. And you can't just take the caption of one photo and dissolve the entire science of geology. So I want to encourage you, if you want to look into this and you're interested in geology, that you take a class or something. If you want more information from me, I can do some more videos. I have a video on my channel right now about geology. You can go and look at that. And so be sure to check your information. You know, use 2 or 3 sources. Don't just take somebody's word and use that and run with it as gospel fact. I hope you understand that and that I've kind of reached out to you today. I do have one more of these videos planned, and I'm going to do a video about NASA. So if you want to hear all about where NASA came from and why it's where it is today, tune in. So we'll see you at that point. Have a good weekend.